Four Wheels of Health, they tell us no more than 350 grams of meat a week. Look at that beautiful Scotch fillet from the butcher. I didn't go to the supermarket and buy a wafer piece of meat. It was the same price as buying it at the supermarket, but it's a better piece of meat. It's 480 grams. I'm going to show you how to do a spicy Mexican steak with a beautiful spicy miso sauce. Now, if you don't like spicy, you could change out the seasoning for my Italian seasoning, or any Italian seasoning you like, or you can just go to the garden and get a whole bunch of herbs and chop them up. It's all good. But let's cook this. Let me show you the chef's technique of cooking a large piece of steak that is going to be juicy in the middle. And if you're going to have that piece of steak and you're going to share that 480 gram piece of meat with your friends, then bloody hell, it better be good, right? First thing you need to do with your piece of meat is get it out and let it get to room temperature. And I'm not talking about 20 minutes before you're going to cook it. I'm talking about 2 hours, so that it actually gets to room temperature. It will cook way better. Moisture is your enemy when cooking steak, and that's why I am going to use this paper towel and soak up any of that moisture that's on the steak so it's completely dry. Mexican seasoning, change this out for Italian. If you don't like Mexican, use it all over, that'll do. Grind the pepper. Now, this is where I like to use a good salt, so I'm using Murray River salt. Use whatever you like. Plenty of it on. A lot of it's going to come off in the cooking process, but it's going to help to make that crust crusty. When I say crust, I mean the outside of the steak. Now, I've got a pan on the heat that can go in the oven. It's cast iron, and I've got the oven preheating to 190 degrees C. Tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil in there, and then let's get the steak in. For 2 minutes on a medium-high heat. Let's turn it over. You see it's already starting to get a good crust. Another 2 minutes. 2 minutes ticks by pretty quickly. So let's get all the edges. And I will get it into that preheated oven that's at 190 degrees C. Okay, it's in the oven. Now you're probably thinking, how long does it stay in that oven that's been preheated to 190 degrees C? I'm not going to tell you. And the reason I'm not going to tell you, because every oven's temperature is slightly different. Depends how the air is circulating. So I can't give you a time. Or if I did, I'd give you 12 minutes. And that would be very approximate and potluck. I am going to cook to an internal temperature. Now I want this piece of Scotch fillet for me to be just over medium rare. So I'm going to shoot for an internal temperature of 55 degrees Celsius. Right, let's look how we do that. So I have what they call a thermopen. Now, most stores that sell anything related to do with kitchen will have a cheap version of this. I use it when I'm barbecuing. It's a way more accurate way to find out, is your steak ready? Now, I want you to remember that when it comes out of the oven, it will keep cooking. Even though it's out of the oven, the temperature will increase. Generally, for a piece of meat about that size, it will increase in temperature about 8 degrees. I'm going to target an internal temperature of 48 degrees. So I get to 55, which is about perfect for medium rare, because it's going to increase in temperature while it just sits on the chopping board for 8 to 10 minutes. And yes, I might have to pull it out of the oven occasionally and check it, but you just make sure that you get this piece here in the middle of the steak, depending on how thick it is, right? I'll put a link in the description where you can buy one of these. So good. Have you guys worked out what has gone horribly wrong in this video already? Epic fail. Hit the comments and tell me what you think went wrong. It's an epic fail. Spring onion. Need a bowl with some ice and some cold water. Cut your spring onion in half like that, and then I'm going to assemble these guys together. So I've taken the green, I've cut them into roughly the same length, and I'm going to bunch them up like this and slice down kind of as thinly as you can, but no big deal if they're slightly chunky. And then submerge those into the ice water. So these will last a few days in here, but you'll see very shortly they'll start to curdle a little bit. 2 tablespoons of miso paste, really good for our gut health. Sriracha, so this is spicy. You could change this out to ketchup, a sugar-free ketchup, of course, if you don't like spicy. 2 tablespoons of lime juice, 1/4 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. I transferred it to a blender for easy mixing up and to emulsify, and I also added 1 extra tablespoon of miso paste for better consistency, and I love it. Alexa's just told me it's been 10 minutes, so I've got an old tea towel I'll pop there. I'll get the steak out and have a little see how good that looks, right? Oh, the crust on it. Now, after you've been cooking steaks for years, you can press it and feel like that to see how it's cooked. But the best way and the most accurate way is for us to work out where is about the middle of the steak and get the probe in to the middle. So that is 36, so not enough yet, about 39. So I'm going to give it about another 4 minutes and check it again. Alexa, set timer for 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Hold it there for a minute. 48. Okay, so it's good. Take it out and we'll leave that to rest, just sitting on the board like that. And a little chef secret I do now is just a little bit of butter over the top, which will melt into it. And just add that extra little bit of flavour on our crust. Remember, we do not want to cut into it straight away, otherwise the juice will just run everywhere and we'll have this dry piece of steak. Have you worked out my epic fail yet? Have you written in the comments? But you haven't. So you always want to make sure you clean your thermopen or your thermometer afterwards. There we go, we can see coming up to 53, 54. So it's increased in temperature from that temperature we got it out at. There we go. 55 degrees is ready for us to slice. I love eating this way where the steak is like almost like a side dish, because this 480 gram piece will feed at least 4 people easily, because I've had a little entree beforehand. Oh, it looks delicious, doesn't it? Those however you like. Fraction of salt over the top. And let's drizzle a little sauce over just a little bit, because we can let people decide how much they want. And we could do as the Mexicans and the Italians do, is serve a little lime that people can squeeze over the top. So this is kind of eating the Mediterranean style, isn't it? So what we've got is a hero dish, like almost like a side dish, right? And that goes to the table, but we've had a salad beforehand, or maybe we've had an eggplant dish cooked with tomatoes and a little bit of Parmesan cheese over the top. Now we have something delicious as another little course, rather than having steak, potatoes and veggies. Well, that looks delicious, doesn't it? And I'm so excited to eat it. I have a video for you on how to cook eye fillet. Did you work out what my epic fail was? Yep, that was 2 different steaks, because yesterday I cooked one and I didn't push record at the end of it. So I've combined the 2 together because I had to cook another one today. As they say, shit happens. See you on the next video.